Okay, we're officially live. Give it a few minutes for some people to pile into the stream. What's up, TK? A bunch of people coming in from Twitter, or X right now, excuse me. Okay, it's 4 p.m. Eastern. Regular session's over with. Closing bell just rang. Got some big companies reporting today. It's the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. Welcome to the stream. We got Amazon, Apple, Coinbase. We got Reddit, MicroStrategy, Roku, Cloudflare, Riot, GoDaddy. Let me just take a look here. Amazon's supposed to report right at 4, so I'm going to go to their chart here in a minute. Forecast EPS $1.58, forecast revenue $177 billion. Quick look at their annual chart here. Trading just above their anchor VWAP. Apple reports at 4:30, so got a little bit of time before they report. EPS $1.73, expectations. Forecast revenue 101 billion. They're trading way above their anchor VWAP. Their anchor VWAP is around 240 a share. Then Coinbase reports at 4:10. Forecast EPS $1.13. Forecast revenue 1.72 billion. They're trading just above their anchor VWAP here, right around like 330 a share. All right, let's go back to the sticks. All right, Amazon, let's go. The Chag on Discord says, let's go, Amazon. You want 250. It's almost up to 240. Look at this nice positive reaction. Let's see if it sticks. It's up 7%. We got to do four chart view here. So we got, I'll keep SPY on the right. Look at SPY getting a little nice bullish candle here. Obviously because of Amazon. Apple, I'm showing Apple doesn't report till 4:30. Maybe that's a typo, but a little bit of volatility on Apple. Not much though. These are 1 hour charts. Coinbase reports at 4:10. About 8 more minutes for Coinbase. Look at Amazon Go. It's up to just hit 243.52. RKT's moving. Here, let me pull that up on this bottom right chart. Yeah, it's moving a little bit. This green 15-minute candle. It's kind of flickering up and down right now. When's Rocket report? Too many pop-ups. Hold on. Let's see, Rocket. Yeah, Rocket reports at 4:05. So Rocket's data's not out yet. So maybe that's just like some pre-earnings jitters there. But back to Amazon. Look at that. I'm going to go ahead and get their EPS revenue. Amazon's getting a nice bullish reaction, up 9%. That's a nice move for a $200 stock. Up $20 a share. Amazon's rocking and rolling right now. All right, so Amazon got a double beat. They reported EPS of $1.95. The expectation was only $1.57. They reported revenue of 180 billion. The forecast was 177 billion. Double beat by Amazon. And let me post the EPS and revenue for everyone. Okay. Let me do this. Okay, that's good. Oops. Let me repost this real quick. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. Amazon's at above 245 now. Look at that. Here, I'm just going to post this for everybody. There we go. Double beat Amazon. Let me see if I can get any other info for everyone. Still wait about 5 more minutes for Coinbase. Rocket reports in 1 minute. Apple's still kind of flat. Apple's not reporting till 4:30, so 25 more minutes for that. Go back to Amazon. Okay, let me just scroll down a little bit. Year over year numbers, quarter over quarter numbers look great for Amazon. Oops. Let me move this down. There we go. Sorry about that. All right. As they beat EPS by 24%. That is a solid earnings per share beat there. Beat revenue just by a little bit, but they beat nonetheless. Got about 200 people tuning in right now. Nice little group in the Discord. JTM says Roku's getting crushed. Rocket's moving. So TK, you were spot on with that. Look at that. Up over 4%. Just look at Roku. All right. Yeah. Roku's down 11.5%. Big 15-minute candle printing right now. Let me see daily chart. Okay, Roku's trading at $90, just below $90, $89 now. So it's already broke through this 91 support that printed about 2 weeks ago, back on October 14th. Just trading at 90, a little bit less than 90. Look at Amazon, still flying, still holding above 245. Lots of Amazon buying going on right now. Support level number 1 for Roku. I mean, if it can reclaim this 91, that's going to be it there. But I mean, it's trading just below 91 now. It just got back over 90. So let's see if 91 holds. That's going to be some good support. Okay, back up to almost 92 with Roku. So support level number 1. This is a bigger time frame level. $91. Let's see if that's going to be important. It's kind of dealing with that level right now. $91 doesn't hold. Probably looking around 85, I think, would be a good S2. Let's go back to Amazon. Trading almost at $246 a share. This thing closed the regular session at $222.86. So it's up really nice, over 10% right now. Oh yeah, I wanted to show the year over year and quarter over quarter numbers nice and green, but they crushed EPS. Solid beat, 24% beat on EPS. That's amazing. It's looking like a grats to the Amazon bulls. Look at a few other things real quick. Yep, so Amazon's up just about 9 or 10%. A little bit less than that. Hit a high at 247.83. Okay, Amazon also increased guidance a little bit. This is for the Q4 guidance. The estimate was 209 billion, and now they're saying 210 billion for Q4. That's for sales revenue. So increased guidance. They beat EPS. They beat revenue. I mean, just those 3 things alone, it's like a trifecta of a positive reaction. Let's look over here. Lotto will pay if it stays there. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's up over $20 a share. So even if you got somewhat close to the money, it should print really nice. JWAG says 200 people. Oh, we up to almost 300 now. Nice following on X. Let me go back here. So again, Amazon beat EPS, beat revenue, increased Q4 guidance. AWS sales came in at 33 billion. The estimate was 32.4 billion. So AWS sales, so kind of like a triple beat if you count that line item, but mainly EPS and revenue beat, so double beat. AWS sales beat, and they raised Q4 guidance. So looking good for Amazon. I want to go back to SPY real quick and just see if SPY is getting a little boost here. Go, yeah, a little boost. SPY closed the regular session at 679.96. Kind of just traded sideways and choppy for most of the day. Then around 2 p.m. Eastern, it started downtrending. But it's up almost 0.25% in after hours. We're talking about SPY. Up almost $2 a share there. But back to Amazon. I want to find some more stuff here. Okay. This is from Amazon's CEO. Double beat for Q3 of 2025. AWS is growing at a pace we haven't seen since 2022, reaccelerating to 20.2% year over year. We continue to see strong demand in AI and core infrastructure. Let me look at a few other things here. Their free cash flow did decrease to 14.8 billion for the trailing 12 months. And that was driven primarily by a year-over-year increase of 50.9 billion in purchases of property and equipment. So that's why their free cash flow went down. Let's see here. We continue to see strong demand in AI and core infrastructure. This is from the CEO. And we've been focused on accelerating capacity, adding more than 3.8 gigawatts in the past 12 months. In stores, we continue to realize the benefits of innovating in our fulfillment network, and we're on track to deliver to Prime members at the fastest speeds ever again this year. Expand same-day delivery of perishable groceries to over 2,300 communities by end of year, and double the number of rural communities with access to Amazon's same-day and next-day delivery. They got some good plans for growth to reach some of the rural communities. And as far as expanding same-day delivery and next-day delivery, that's really neat. I love that. And the big thing with Amazon, I think, not only the double beating EPS and revenue, but that AWS, the sales increased 20% on that. That's big. So looking really good for Amazon. Let's see when their earnings web call is. And I'll get the link for everyone. Coinbase, it looks like their data might be out. Not really getting much of a move yet. It is printing a 1 hour candle though. A green candle, excuse me. We go 15-minute on that. Okay, 15-minute green candle. All right, it is getting a positive reaction. It's up 2.5%. Coinbase is. Apple reports in 15 minutes. I wanted to check MicroStrategy. I know they got a big following. They're up a little bit, it's kind of flickering back and forth. Did MicroStrategy report right here? Yeah, they should have reported at 4. So let me go back to check TradingView real quick. Okay, Coinbase getting a nice positive reaction. Look at this. Printing a nice 15-minute candle here. I wonder if Coinbase's earnings got released a few minutes. Well, actually, Coinbase reported at 4:10, so their data's out. Let me get their data. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. Let me get Amazon. Let's find out when their earnings conference call is, because I know a lot of people want to see that. Amazon's still holding up above 240. Let's take a look. Okay, here it is here. Earnings conference call, October 30th, 2 p.m. Pacific time, which is 5 p.m. Eastern. So Amazon's doing their earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's in 45 minutes. All right, so let me put this link in the comments so everyone can get that. Maybe it'll save some people some time. Going to try and find the link. Put that link on the bottom of my screen just for a little bit, give people a chance to screenshot it. So 5 p.m. Eastern, earnings web call with Amazon, and upper management, CEO, CFO, that kind of thing. They'll probably talk about the guidance in a little more detail. I'm sure they're going to talk a lot about the AWS section of their business. So it's going to be a real interesting earnings call with Amazon. Again, not for another 45 minutes. Let's look at, I suppose, Coinbase, because their data's out. I think we're still waiting on Apple. Apple is supposed to report at 4:30, so in about 15 minutes. They're getting a little bit of a move here, though. So I'll check and see if their data's actually got released already. Coinbase has a double beat. Okay, Coinbase has a double beat. Let me put that in the comments for everybody. 2 green check marks there. They reported EPS of $1.50. The expectation was $1.17. And they reported revenue of $1.9 billion. And the expectation there was $1.8 billion. So double beat by Coinbase. Solid growth. Their EPS is up over 400% year over year for Coinbase. That's amazing. And revenue's up 55% year over year. Jeez. Coin bulls are liking that. Now, Coinbase was down over 5% today during the regular session. Counting, it's a little selling in pre-market, and then they kind of just basically trended down all day. But nonetheless, they're reclaiming a lot of that selling right now in after hours, up about 4% in after hours, which is about $14 a share. Let's take a look at some more stuff for Coinbase. Key takeaway for Coinbase: they delivered another strong quarter with beats across revenue, net income, continued momentum in institutional flows. This is for Coinbase. And continued momentum with the crypto market activity, which is fueling earnings power and margin strength. Again, I know Coinbase was down 5.7% today during the regular session, but it's getting a nice move here in after hours. It's a pretty solid 15-minute green candles being printed right now. So we'll see if this holds up and gets some continuation. But it looks like Coinbase has some pretty solid earnings. Amazon has some pretty solid earnings. MSTR, what time did they report again? I thought I looked at that. Yeah, their earnings should be out. So a little bit of a delayed reaction on MSTR. Let me find out where and when Coinbase's earnings web call is. A little after 4:15. Make sure I give everyone that data before these earnings web calls start. Okay, let me just type this in. Let me check Discord real quick. Make sure I didn't. Tammy says Net has some good earnings. Okay, cool. Yeah, we were running some calendar spreads, diagonal calendar spreads on that for a while. We had a lot of back-to-back winning weeks, so that was a fun one. Let me check Net. And this is looking great, y'all. All 4, Amazon, Apple, Coin, and MST are all getting positive reactions. This is great. Let me see what SPY's doing. Yeah, SPY and Triple Qs are kind of pumping too, retracing some of the selling they had during the regular session. There was just a lot of anticipation of these big earnings. I think maybe had a little bit to do with this end of day little sell-off that the indexes, well, these are the ETFs that follow the indexes, but nonetheless, a little afternoon kind of selling. But look at this. All 4 companies, Apple, Amazon, Coin, and MST are all positive reactions. I want to look at Net real quick because I've traded that quite a bit. Remember, we were saying at the beginning of the year this year, software companies were going to do pretty well. And they did. They've been performing well all year, software companies. So Net, a little volatile. It wicked all the way up to 245 after closing the regular session just above 222. Let's come all the way back down. So investors are still digesting Nets, which is Cloudflare, their earnings data. We'll see if we can get back up there. Look at Amazon. It tapped 247.83. This thing's still up over $20 a share, $21 a share, up almost 10%, almost. Netflix just announced a 10-for-1 split. Thanks for that info, Tammy. Wow, that's big news for Netflix. Let's take a look here. Wow, they're popping big too. Look at that. They actually already had their earnings back on October 22nd. About 8 days ago, they had their earnings. It looks like it was a negative reaction. They kind of trended down a little bit, but with Netflix trading over $1,000, they closed the regular session at 1,089. Now they're sitting at 11.22 a share, up 3%. I mean, for $1,000 stock, that's a nice move. So Netflix, kind of breaking news, announced a 10-for-1 split. Amazing. Maybe I'll, that's great. I love when they do the forward splits because it makes it a lot easier to write contracts on them, right? So Tammy, be on the lookout. We'll probably start wheeling Netflix after they do their forward split. Obviously, maybe just do like one lot size trade or something like that. That's going to be sweet. And it reminds me of like anytime NVIDIA was around $100, we always wheeled that one. We were making like $400 to $600 a contract when we were wheeling NVIDIA. Like on a weekly or biweekly basis, we were bringing in $400, $600 around there. Just wheeling NVIDIA anytime it pulled back to 100. Obviously, NVIDIA is way above that now, but we had a lot of fun doing that. So Netflix does this forward split. If it's a 10-for-1 split, they're trading around $1,000. I mean, do the math. We'll be able to write some decent contracts on Netflix and collect some really good money on them. So I'm looking forward to that. Apple. Okay, Apple's data. Earnings whispers say Apple's not reporting until 4:30. So let me just double check and see if in fact their data's out. Just refresh my other screen here. Okay. All right. Yeah, Apple's data is not out yet. So this is just like pre-earnings buying, pre-earnings volatility, I guess is what I would call it. Maybe, there's some data has been leaked or something because he's working on a nice candle here, working on a second 15-minute candle. It's only up like $1.70 a share though. So I know this 4-chart screen view, sometimes the moves look a little bigger than they actually are, but Apple's up about $1.75 a share right now. So I don't think their data's out. The sources I'm looking at, there's nothing there. So yeah, we should get Apple's earnings data in about 7 minutes if the time on Earnings Whispers is right. It's 4:30 p.m. Eastern. But wow, this is great for the market, y'all. If these positive reactions continue, we should see a nice bullish day tomorrow in the markets. We'll see. Tomorrow's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Even though Apple's data is not out, it's showing signs of bullishness, which all that could change when the data drops in about 6 or 7 minutes. But Amazon holding steady around 244 a share, 244 and some change. Coinbase, not really much of a reaction. I mean, it's up 2.5%. I suppose that's decent. It's like $8.50 a share, around there. But it looks like Coinbase did report some solid earnings. They had some good margin numbers. They beat EPS, they beat revenue. Amazon crushed earnings, especially the EPS. But we are still waiting for Apple's data. So again, Amazon's earnings web calls at 5 p.m. Eastern, so about 30 more minutes for that. But let's find out when Coinbase does their earnings web call. Also, let me post the link Give me 1 second here. I wanted to post the link in the Discord for the Amazon, because if anyone in the Discord wants to watch the Amazon web call, that starts in about 30 minutes. Here, I'll put the link in there for y'all. There we go. So that's the link that I just posted it in the chat in the Discord. That'll take you to the Amazon earnings web call that starts at 5. Let's check when Coin's going to do theirs. Okay, Apple is showing signs of life here. Again, the sources I'm looking at, I don't have any data yet, so should be in about 5 more minutes. We're getting some pre-earnings buying on Apple. It's like someone got leaked some information or something. All right, let's check out Coinbase. Find out when their earnings webcast is. And I'll put Coinbase's link in the comments here for everybody. Here we go. This will take you to Coinbase's earnings web call. And right here, if you want a deeper dive into Coinbase's earnings, you can read the press release. And then, of course, the PDF document for the shareholder letter. Let's see how many pages this is. Wow, yeah, it's a 20-page document. Right here, if you're looking at my screen, this will give you a really good deep dive into their earnings. We kind of went over some of the info, but if you want to dig deeper, this is where you're going to go. And the earnings webcast, let's find out when that is. Okay, they're saying it starts in 63 minutes. All right. So at 5:30 p.m. Eastern is when Coinbase is going to do their earnings web call. And matter of fact, they got a YouTube link right here. So I'll just post that. Let me type this out for everyone. I'll move this out of the way so we can see the Apple over here on the top right. All right. This is going to be for Coin earnings web call. And I'm going to put this in the comments for everyone. That's the little YouTube link right there you can go to. All right, it's 4:27 p.m. Apple's data should drop in like 2 or 3 minutes. We'll look at MSTR one more time on the left bottom. MSTR getting a nice bullish reaction, up 5%, over 5%. It's like 13, that's almost $14 a share. Netflix still holding up here with news on their forward split, 10-for-1 forward split. Amazon still holding up very beautifully above 240, trading just under 244 right now. Okay, Apple's on deck. They're coming in next. All right, so just a few more minutes for Apple. I want to check and see, did Roku ever find the bottom? Yeah, looks like they tried to bottom out right around 85. They're trying to come back up a little bit. Roku closed the regular session at $100.03 a share. They're down 6.5% right now, a little over 6%. And what was the other ones? I just want to make sure I look at the big ones that I was looking at. Net, what's GoDaddy reported as well. I suppose we could check them. GDDY. Yeah, GoDaddy's kind of all over the place. They came up to 132.69, then came all the way back down to where they closed the regular session at. So not really much going on with GoDaddy right now. We check Net. Net, it looks like some more buying. Yash on X asks if Apple earnings are out. It's supposed to be in about 1 more minute, or actually 30 more seconds. So good timing. Apple technically reports at 4:30. They're getting some pre-earnings volatility. You can see some buying coming in, but the data's not out yet. It should drop in maybe about 15 more seconds. It's supposed to be 4:30 p.m. So Apple's kind of jumping around like a jumping jack here. But any second now. Okay, it's about to be 4:30. Boom. All right. I knew that was going to happen. As soon as the stroke of 4:30, boom. Big move on Apple. So far it's negative. Let's just make sure you could give this a second. Sometimes they flicker all over the place before it chooses a direction. So came down to 261.88. Investors still digesting the data, but it should officially be out now. So let me see what we got here. Okay, Apple does have a double beat, but obviously there's something else in the earnings investors aren't liking. So we'll see if we can figure that out. But I'll put the EPS and revenue here in the comments. I'll put it there on the bottom of my screen. So they beat EPS by 0.10. Expectation was 1.75. They reported 1.85. They beat revenue just by a little bit. The forecast was 101.8 billion, and they reported 102.5 billion. So double beat, kind of small double beat, but nonetheless double beat. I want to find out what else is going on with them because they're selling off here. They're down about 3%. So let me go to their investor relations page and see if I can find out what happened. Possibly guidance related. That's what I would assume. Year-over-year numbers and quarter-over-quarter numbers are green. Okay, I'm getting some more data coming in here. Okay, they took a big hit with revenue coming out of China. The estimate for the China revenue was 16.2 billion, and they did 14.4 billion. So they missed China revenue by $2 billion. And just so everyone knows, with Apple, that China revenue weakness is tied to iPhone delays. Getting some good info here from Wolf Financial. Appreciate it. Shout out to them. Let me look at a few other things. Okay, they missed on iPhone revenue. Believe it or not, Apple missed on iPhone revenue. Can you believe it? Expectation for iPhone revenue was 50.19 billion, and they reported 49 billion. So they missed iPhone revenue by $1 billion. And they're noting supply constraints as the reason for missing the iPhone revenue expectations. Yeah, so there's definitely a few red flags here, a few line items that definitely pop out off the page. And it's basically two things that are popping out for me. And again, it's the China revenue. They missed by quite a bit, almost $2 billion miss on China revenue. And they're blaming it on iPhone delays. And then the second thing that hurt Apple, why it got that initial negative reaction, was the iPhone revenue. I mean, that's what they're known for, and they missed. So even though they beat EPS and beat sales revenue in general, a few line items there just kind of, spooking investors a little bit. iPhone revenue down and China revenue significantly down. Okay, thanks, Tammy. We were thinking the same thing there. Apple did declare a 26-cent per share dividend. I don't think anything's changed with that. Let me just go back and see. Yeah, they paid their last dividend in August, which was 26 a share. So no change to the dividend, but it was declared, so that's still going to happen. Go back to 5-minute chart. But yeah, I mean, that's why Apple, if anyone's curious, that's just joining the stream, that's why Apple's taking a hit. China revenue, significant miss there, and iPhone revenue down by over $1 billion. They missed on iPhone revenue. So that just goes to show, just because they beat general EPS and revenue forecasts, it doesn't mean that they're out of the woods. And some of these other revenue streams that are, the bulk of their business, they miss those line items, and it's going to get a negative reaction for sure. So let me check a few other things. Here's some commentary and some outlook data for Apple. I know a lot of people are tuning in for Apple. Almost 800 people are tuning in. Lots of familiar names. Good to see everybody. All right. CEO commentary and outlook for Apple. iPhone Air launch delay in China drove Q4 regional softness. Look at Apple coming back, though. I think there were some people that might have taken this little dip as a discount. There is some buying going on right now on Apple. Some more takeaways from Apple's earnings. Supply constraints hit select iPhone 16 and 17 models. For Q1 of 2026, they're expecting, exactly. Yash on X. They're not even down 1% now, after coming all the way down to 261. So you got to figure. I mean, they closed the regular session at 271, right? And they came down and tapped 261 and some change. So even at the after hours low, it was only a $10 per share hit on a $271 stock. So, I mean, they only saw 3.6% drawdown on that. And then buyers started buying the dip there, obviously. See this big bottom wick here? It's working on a green 5-minute candle right now. Almost coming back to right where they closed the regular session. It's only down like $2 a share right now. So, I know the Apple bulls, seeing that $10 per share drawdown sell off that just happened was probably a little concerning. But hey, they're bouncing back. It's looking like it's going to be just fine. Now, iPhone revenue for Q1 of 2026, they are expecting double-digit growth versus the estimate was only 9.8%. For the guidance for Q1 for the iPhone revenue. So the estimate for that guidance was 9.8%, but now they're saying it's going to be more than that, and it's going to be into the double digit. So that's positive for the guidance. So it looks like they increased guidance for Q1 of 2026 a little bit. That's great. And they do note that they're still probably going to see some supply constraints as we get into Q1. So just something to keep in mind. But basically, key takeaway for Apple earnings. So Apple beat on EPS and services strength. And I'm getting this data from Wolf Financial, by the way. That's one of our partner companies. So shout out to Wolf and my buddy Gav over there at Wolf. So anyways, Apple beat on EPS and services strength, offsetting iPhone softness driven by launch delays. So they're kind of saying, since they double beat EPS in services strength, that's kind of offsetting the softness from the iPhone. It kind of offsets iPhone softness, if you will. It is driven by launch delays and supply constraints. Management strikes a confident tone into Q1 of next year with double-digit iPhone growth. So we kind of already went over that a little bit. Strong iPhone growth expectations and strong forward revenue guide. So that's probably why it's kind of bounced back up here to where it closed at the regular session. People were buying that dip because it looks like they guided up for Q1, and the markets are forward looking. So if they increase Q1 guidance, hell yeah, investors are going to buy this dip. Obviously, we're not in Q1 yet. We're not there yet. So they guided up. You know, Apple should do very well. Q1 next year, they increased their guidance. Good stuff on Apple. I mean, even though that initial negative reaction, but they have totally reversed and turned the corner here. Apple is now green. Look at this, folks. Look at Amazon, just tapped 248.99, almost 249, off by a penny. Congratulations to the Amazon bulls. This thing's up 11%, folks, almost 25 cents a share. This thing could be heading into the 250 range if this momentum keeps up. And now Apple, nice and green, up 1%. Beautiful. Yeah, the check says, told you. Breckle, you cracked me up with your meme over there. Net slowly trending up. Net's up over 5%. MSTR is up almost 5%. Amazon's up 11%. Apple's up about 1%. That I just think that was a good, nice little reversal that just happened. Talk about dip buyers. I mean, we've kind of been in a dip buy environment since April, right? Lots of traders making lots of money this year after April, you know, after the correction ended in April and everything just started going to the moon. Anytime we got dips on the blue chippies, you know, buying the dip has been the MO this year. Will it continue to do that? You know, we don't really know, but that's definitely been the trend. Yeah, Tammy on Discord says Green Day tomorrow. Yeah, that would be nice to have a nice, beautiful green Friday to end the week. I know my wheel trade positions would love that. See a little bit of drawdown on some of my wheels, but nothing to fret over. The wheels always do very well for us. Let me go back and check coin and see what they did. And also, did I put Apple's earnings web call timeout? I don't think we checked that yet. Coin's Apple, or geez, I'm all discombobulated. Coin's earnings web call is at 5 p.m. Eastern, about 20 minutes from now. Amazon's earnings web call is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's find out when Apple's doing theirs. I know a lot of people want to see that. Okay, let's take a look. All right, 5 p.m. Eastern. So Apple's earnings web call is about 15 more minutes. It's almost 4:45. Look at Apple catching a little bid here. This is awesome. I just love seeing this because after that initial negative reaction, I could just see the look on the Apple bulls' faces, and they should all be smiling now. What a reverse Uno on Apple. I love it. Amazon still holding strong. Coinbase reversed. Coinbase had an initial and positive reaction. They just did 100% reverse ski down to the bottom here where it closed the regular session. So the verdict is still out with Coinbase. Cloudflare starting to trend up a little bit. I want to look at okay, so just real quick here for Apple. Oh, hold on. Let me just X out of this. We don't need those no more. Okay. Apple results. Yeah, so 5 p.m. Eastern, okay, for Apple's web call. They're probably going to talk about the guidance a little more in depth. So these are some big companies reporting earnings. Overall, positive reactions. Net's positive. Apple's positive. Amazon's positive. Coinbase is flat. Well, Coinbase is a little green. It's up $1.29 a share. It closed the regular session. Go to the 5-minute chart here. You can see kind of downtrended into the close. So technically, it is green in after hours, just by a little bit. But the big hitters. Wow, look at Apple go. Apple's about to hit 280. Holy cow. They're up over 3% now. What a turnaround reversal on Apple. I love to see it. Of course, I'm a bull at heart. I mean, my name's the Swinging Bull on the Discord, right? So a lot of my trades are neutral to bullish type trades. Of course, I write a lot of contracts. So anytime you're on the contract writing side, you absolutely can be neutral. You don't need a directional move when you're writing contracts. That's why I love writing contracts. So most of my trades are sell to open. So we're basically on the selling side of the opening transaction. I think Amazon's going to break into 250. It's really trying. Yeah, Timmy, how can anyone be a bear at heart? There's some hedge funds that's all they do. They're just looking for short candidates. There's actually, being on the short side is pretty lucrative if you know what you're doing. If it was me, I would just attack biotech and pharmaceutical companies and therapeutic companies. Anytime they rally, I'd be attacking those if I was a short trader, if you will. But of course, you can also be short on the put side, which is neutral to bullish. So a lot of people think short and they always think bear, but you could trade short and actually be neutral to bullish if you're shorting the puts. So pretty cool. But look at Amazon. It's gonna bust this 250 here while we're streaming. Watch, just hit 259.55. 249.55. Excuse me. So I think it's gonna bust into 250. It's just a matter of time. Apple, beautiful reversal in Apple. I just love that. Let me go back and check. What was the other one? Oh yeah, MicroStrategy. Okay, MicroStrategy is green by like 2.5%. It's about $6 a share. They are retracing. This initial positive reaction though, so we'll keep our eye on it. I'm thinking Amazon and Apple alone. I mean, those two alone is enough to move the markets. Let's see. Yeah, look at SPY and triple Qs. SPY and trip Qs off to the races. This is great to see. I love it. Especially after the market's basically trended down all day. It's nice to see a nice little pop in the after hours here. Tammy said, doing a little trade in Apple's 2x long ETF. Nice. Okay, so Tammy's over here trading it in after hours, making some money outside of the regular session. Let's go. So Tammy's up over here in the Discord. She's up 4% trading the Amazon 2x long ETF. Amazing. Just keep your finger on the trigger. Of course, we're limited to limit orders in after hours. So keep your finger on the trigger. Maybe, not financial advice, just what I would do. Of course, we can't use stop market orders in after hours. So it's not like we can just trail the price up with a stop. But, especially if you're on the share side trading in after hours, maybe consider scaling out a little bit here, a little bit there. But Tammy's been with us for years and years. She knows what she's doing. All right, let me go back to the sticks. Okay, Amazon hit 249.81. Excuse me, take a sip of water. All right, 19 cents off from the 250. The chat says you had Amazon contracts and they were at 0.08. And last time, and you checked, and now they're almost at 0.8. Amazing return. Man, I got like an itchy throat. Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. Didn't want to cough into the microphone. Been chatting for almost an hour now, so 249.89, 11 cents off from 250. Look at that. So we got about 10 more minutes before some of these earnings web calls are going to start. Yeah, and you know, that's a good point. Tammy over here in Discord just talking about, you know, anytime you're trading option contracts through earnings, perhaps it's like a lotto earnings trade like hero or zero. You know, you can get burned on those, you know, more often than not. Trading option contracts through earnings can definitely be a gamble. So one thing to think about is why not just stop doing that and just trade shares? Trading shares and after hours, you know, would probably be more consistent over time compared to trading naked options where you can't even get out of it until the next day at the opening bell, right? So a bit limited when trading option contracts through earnings. The beautiful thing about just trading the shares, basically just going with the reaction, right, is you can liquidate your position in after hour. You don't have to wait till the next day. So that's a good point, Tammy. The Chag says, thanks, Ben, for reminding me. So I go by the Swinging Bull on Discord. My real name is Ben, in case anyone was curious. Benjamin is my legal name, but everyone calls me Ben. All right. So we got our reactions. I mean, like I say, Amazon and Apple alone are moving the market. SPY and Trip Qs up real nice in after hours. Look at triple Q's up 1% in after hours. SPY's up 0.6%. That's a beautiful thing for the bulls out there. All right, so we got our reactions. We know what time these earnings web calls are starting. We know how to get there. I put the links in the comments on how to get to each one of these earnings calls. So hopefully that saved everyone some time. But my name's The Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. What I specialize in the Discord is, I was talking about this a little bit just a little while ago, is I write contracts. I'm most of my trades are sell to open. If you've ever been interested in writing contracts, maybe you've heard about it, but you just don't know where to start, come check us out. Join the Discord. I'm the basically advanced options coach, because either I'm writing contracts or I do multi-leg option trades like spreads and stuff like that. Spreads have been a little hit or miss lately with the increased volatility, but my bread and butter is writing contracts. Okay. So if you've ever been interested in that, join the Discord, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. You can even join the free section in the Discord. It doesn't even cost any money. You can see how the free section is and kind of go from there. We got a great community, though. We don't put up with any drama. Anytime the staff sees anyone causing drama, they're usually just booted out. You know, we still have a lot of fun, but we try and keep things professional as we can sometimes, and you know, kind of treat it like a business, right? Because you know, we're trading and investing our hard-earned money, so you know, we got to take this serious. You know, it's not a game. But anyways, yeah, if you're looking for a new home, check us out. But other than that, Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. This is the last earnings stream of the week. Tomorrow's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. I hope everyone had a good week, and hope everyone enjoys the night. And until next time, I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers.